Hello, hello, my Facebook and YouTube family. Here we go in this on this rainy day. One good thing about it, it's raining, so you have no choice but to come chat with Cece today. I'm glad you came. Today we got an interesting topic. If you recall, a couple of weeks ago, we had a topic where we talked about political views. Same community, being African American, but two totally different views on a subject. Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. The coronavirus. We see it affecting everybody in one way or another, but yet we have some people that think it's a hoax. They don't think it's important out here, or I think that they taking away our civil liberties by wearing masks. Why do we need to? And then we have another side that think it's very important. People are losing lives out here. People are spreading it. Which way of the pendulum do you swing? Well, tonight we got two people that's gonna tell why one believe one way and the other one believe the other way. I'm gonna ask questions about it. And remember, YouTube and Facebook family, you could always put questions in the comment box, and I'll definitely, put it on screen so our guest can answer it. Now, to start off with, excuse me, I'm trying to fix this screen. And how do y'all like my colors tonight? I'm getting better. Just an off note. Go back and watch my makeup video with Cherry Hicks. She's the expert on colors. So I've been trying it and it's been working. I hope you like it. Okay, let's get to our people we got coming tonight. We got Mr. Langham. Ed, we have Mr. Lee. If you remember them, how y'all doing?
Doing good.
Can you hear me?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm doing good.
Okay. I just want to make sure everybody's heard. So we're going to talk about, as you know, the coronavirus, and we're going to let you say your stance on it. Mr. Langham, I think if I'm correct, you're the one that's for masks, and you believe the coronavirus is really out, it's a real thing, and it's out here, and it's killing people, and it's important for us to wear masks. So would you like to expand on that? Just to tell your viewpoint?
Yeah, of course. It is a real thing. And, right now, I understand how in the beginning, President Trump had actually came on and said that it was a hoax. At Fox News, they said it was a hoax for the first maybe 3 to 4 months, from December probably all the way back down to March of 2020. But in the end, I mean, we can all see the effects of it. We can all see how many deaths. We're up to 170,000 deaths in America. And that's, it's unprecedented. I know for a fact that if this would happen under Obama's watch, he'd have been out the door or swinging from a tree somewhere. They'd have took him out. But anyway, that's another show. But
okay,
anyway,
that's another show. Okay, Mr. Lee, how do you feel about it? Why do you feel like it's a hoax, or why do you feel we don't need to take precautions, like everybody needs to wear a mask, everybody needs to, self-isolate? What makes you think how do you feel? What do you makes you think we shouldn't take this as an important factor?
Well, first of all, I mean, I don't think it's a hoax. I mean, I think that's kind of taken way out of context. The whole point I'm actually trying to make is that, I mean, it is a real disease, but what I'm saying is I don't think people should be, I don't think they should be closed, isolated in their house. I mean, because if they stay in their house, it'd be a year, 2 years in their house, and a lot of times they stay home and they make more money staying at home than they is actually going to work. And the economy is never getting better. I mean, restaurants closing. I mean, it's like this thing got people as prisoners. I mean, but but by no reason, I don't think that it's a hoax. I mean, it is a real disease, but I mean, I don't think it should have people captive as far as where they don't want to come out their house, they don't want to go nowhere, they don't want to travel. I mean, you do have to take precautions. I mean, and I am for wearing masks, but my whole point is I don't think you should actually make it where it's actually got you as a prisoner, which you don't want.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm glad you clarified that, because when I was told to do a show on it, I guess you and Mr. Langham had a conversation, and it was displayed totally different. So your stance on it is that you believe it's a real disease, but you just don't think we should have to stay inside and close businesses and so what if you think it's a real disease and you don't think we should go through all those precautions? What precautions do you think that should be taken?
Well, I think you should social distance, and I think if you're sick, I mean, you should stay at home. But 90% of people, I guess 95% of people that get coronavirus, I mean, they get better. I mean, it's only people that have underlying conditions, people that have high blood pressure,
Okay.
have weakened immune systems that really affect them. Most people that's healthy, they actually recover from coronavirus.
Okay. Do you have some statistics on how many people that's healthy actually recover, Mr. Lee?
Well, it's about 95% of people that's healthy that get coronavirus. I mean, they quarantine for 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, and they get better. I mean, most of the people that get coronavirus, they don't die. Most of the people that all the studies that I've seen is people that got diabetes or they got weakened immune systems. I mean, a lot of people that was in they were older people and their body. I mean, they had diabetes and they had other conditions. I mean, it affected them a whole lot more than healthy people.
Okay,
So most of the healthy people that I've known.
I'm sorry, Mr. Lee, your speakers is, I don't know if you need to get closer to your speakers, but you're kind of fading in and out. But I got the gist of what you were saying. You were saying that the majority. I'm just I'm just repeating what you're saying, just so my audience could really hear what you're saying, because like I said, you was coming in and out. So what you're saying that 95% of the people that get coronavirus actually recover, and unless you have an underlying condition, you are the only ones that, which must be 5% of the population. So they are the only ones that really are dying. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
actually it's over 5 million people that got it, and yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because it's actually I think we got contracted coronavirus, and I think the death toll is at 170,000 or somewhere upwards in that number. So that would account for about less than 5% of the people that actually contracted it.
Okay, if somebody's out there fact checking, we would like to see if, so that means that would have to be the death toll in the United States is about 170,000, right? That's what you're saying. Okay, Mr. Langham, what do you have to say about that?
Well, I think those facts are kind of skewed. I mean, it's a couple things on a couple levels. First thing I'll go on is you can't really talk about 95% of the population that died. It's only the people that have underlying conditions, because to be honest with you, I think probably about 7 out of 10 people in the United States have underlying conditions over 45 or so. Even myself, I might look healthy. I've been in the gym every day and everything like that, but I'm a diabetic 1. I'm type 1 diabetes. I've also had asthma, hay fever. So, I have conditions where it could potentially take me out. Now, if you're talking about the older generation, older, if you're referring to like maybe 70 and up, something like that, then yes, it's hitting them at a disproportionate scale than it is the younger people. But if you look at it too, it's also hitting blacks harder, minorities harder, because we don't have the same health care as we had before. Now, the second thing I want to go over was civil liberties. If I think if we would have took the proper precautions in the beginning, if our president and whoever and the leaders in charge would have took the proper precautions, this probably wouldn't have got so far to actually trample on our civil liberties. We wouldn't have had to worry about social distancing or wearing too many masks because we would have done something ahead of time. But due to the current political climate and the president that we have, he made a decision not to do anything. He thought it was a hoax. He thought it was a fluke. He thought it was a joke. So he thought it was something that the other party had made up. So he didn't do anything to prepare the United States for it. So when it did hit the United States, it ran through it like a flame. And so right now we're seeing the the results of not being prepared. Even the president before, and I'm going to say this, and that's going to be my last thought. Even the president Obama, when he had put measures in place in case we did have a pandemic, he put those measures in place, and they should have been taken and adhered to. Trump dismantled those and didn't even look at the playbook. So, like I said, we weren't even prepared in no form fashion to deal with this pandemic.
So, okay. I hear what you said. And did anybody fact check to see just 170,000 in the United States has been killed?
It's 174,000.
174,000. Okay, and I guess we don't know how many of those was actually healthy people, or just the people with underlying conditions, because there's a lot of senior citizens that died, but that don't mean they had underlying conditions. Just because you're old, that's really not an underlying condition. That's just the fact that you're elderly. Okay, with that said, today there was a lady that was kicked off the airplane, and because you know how some people are, Mr. Lee fell off. I guess he'll come back. It looked like his internet connection is not really good anyway where he's at, so hopefully he'll come back in. But there was a lady that was kicked off the airline because her 2-year-old child wouldn't keep the mask on. And so she thought, the first thing she did was take it to the news. Well, okay, in general, and I guess I have to repeat that for Mr. Lee whenever he get back on. In general, what do you feel about that, Mr. Lamb? Do you think she should have been kicked off? Do you think it's a 2-year-old child, and you know how children, they don't want anything on their face? Do you think she should have been kicked off? Do you think the age should be a little bit older, that they should wear masks? What do you think?
Well, I think that she should have been afforded the opportunity to, one, put a mask on the child and try to keep the mask on the child. I mean, that would have been, I think, within the realm of common sense. I don't think that just kicking them off the plane, you have to give people a chance to react. And now if she refused and was like, I'm not putting nothing on a mask on my child, then that's something different. But if you give them a chance to conform to the rules and regulations that they have on board, then I think she should have stayed on.
Okay, well, let me clarify, and I don't know if Mr. Lee had heard it. Did you hear what I was saying while you was off?
No, I think what happened.
Okay, it was a 2-year. Okay, a lady had a 2-year-old child, was on an airplane, and the 2-year-old, kids don't want to keep nothing on their face. She wouldn't wear the mask. The child wouldn't wear a mask. So they gave her a couple of opportunities, and they said, ma'am, your child is going to have to wear a mask if she's going to take this flight. So the lady got kicked off the plane. Of course, she went to the media, I guess, to see what the public had to say about it. And the airline's rules is anyone 2 years old and up needs to wear a mask. Okay, I was asking, what is your take on that? Do you think she should have been kicked off because she, the 2-year-old wouldn't wear a mask, or how do you think that should have been handled?
Well, I think that's pretty much up to the parents should have made the child wear the mask. Because if the airline, if that's what they that's what they require, the parents should have made the child wear the mask.
Okay.
I don't have no problem with that.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that, because 2-year-olds or not, you could spread the germs. So being that said, my next question is, do you yourself, everywhere you go, when you around kids, You and Mr. Langham, I want both of y'all to answer these questions. Do you yourself, every time you out of the house or around children or around adults, do you wear your mask and practice the protocols that's set in place for the coronavirus?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What about you, Mr. Lee?
Well, I wear masks like when I go in Walmart and I go in or when I go in like stores, I wear masks. But when I'm around my family, like my immediate family, I don't wear masks. And then a lot of times right now, I don't go to other people's houses because they're kind of funny about you coming to their house. So, I mean, I don't go around too many other people's houses. So, but I do wear it. I don't wear it in my car. But I mean,
okay, but you know, we're not gonna talk about everybody's place of business. But if you're around kids, if you're around kids in general, and Mr. Langham, if you're around kids in general, and just around people, do you practice or make it a hard, fast rule that you're gonna have a mask on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Mr. Lee? Mr. Lee?
I mean, it depends on if it's my child, I don't wear it. If it's my child, I don't wear it. But if it's somebody else's child, I wear it, yeah.
Okay, okay.
If it's my child, I don't.
Okay, well that's good to know. And as far as Mr. Langham had said before about the president, the way he handled the coronavirus in the first place, Mr. Lee, I know you are a Trump supporter. How do you feel are you in agreement how the president handled the coronavirus, or what do you think he should have changed? How do you think he should have changed towards the handling the coronavirus?
Well, I think in the beginning he actually put it in the hands of the governors. And I think one problem, Andrew Cuomo, he acted like he did a good thing, but what he actually put 11,000. He forced the nursing home to get corona patients to actually take them, and they actually died. And he actually blames this on Trump. Trump actually sent a ship. He sent a big old ship, like it was a floating hospital, to New York. And New York actually didn't even actually use it. But he sent all these people that was positive and killed 11,000 people. And he actually got a book out now talking about all the things that he's done right. And actually, New York is got the highest deaths in the whole United States. So I don't understand how, but I agree. He actually put it in the hands of the governors and actually had them deal with it.
And do you think that was the right thing to do? Put it in the hands of the governor?
Well, it seems like everything Trump do, he kind of damned if he do and damned if he don't. Just like with this.
Well, I'm asking your personal opinion. Do you think it? This is what Mr. Lee thinks. This is not what the public thinks.
Well, I think a lot in the beginning. I mean, he really didn't know what was going on, in April. I mean, around in January when it first started. I mean, he didn't think it was serious. So I think he could have put a lot more measures in place. But actually, the way it spread so fast, I don't know if it actually made a difference as far as the deaths that actually happened. I don't think it would have made a difference.
Okay, Mr. Langham, can you answer that question? Do you want me to repeat it?
I'm of a dissenting opinion.
Okay.
The reason why, I understand what you're saying about Trump sent the Navy ship, the Navy hospital up to New York City, but he didn't send the Navy hospital up there till March 30th. So just like you and I know, you were prior military, I was prior military. The intelligence reports come first to the president, and they came to him in the time frame around November, December time frame. So he knew about this stuff happening in November, December time frame. And you can fact check me if you like also. But even though he knew, he went on TV, he went on camera. He was like, hey, it's a joke. He went to rallies. It was a joke. And so the weight and the bully pulpit of the president has a lot of power. So to take that stance, he set the machine in place. He set the mechanics in place for most Trump supporters to not even believe in the coronavirus. They didn't even believe of anything. So they still carried out their way. They carried out life as normal. And so when it did hit the United States, they weren't thinking, like, hey, it's you know, like when he told us to drink bleach, they drank bleach. Like I said, they believed everything he said.
Okay, what do you have to say to Mr. Lee's comments about Governor Cuomo about that he put the coronavirus inside the nursing homes, and that's why so many of them died?
Well, I mean, we'd have to fact check that, but I think in the realm of things, it's not the governor's job to handle that. The president of the United States is in charge of the United States. You should have had a federal response instead of depending on the governors and a statewide response. You should have had, just like Obama. When Obama had Ebola come out, swine flu, HNS1, whatever it is. I forgot what it is. But whenever that came out, Obama handled it. He didn't wait on the governors to react. He handled it himself. So that's what I think that's why I think that he failed. This shouldn't have been a statewide decision or a governor's decision. This should have been a federal decision.
Okay. Mr. Lee.
Well,
I was going to say something. Did you have something else you wanted to say to rebut Mr. Langham?
yeah, what I want to say is I think the whole problem is I think well I don't want to get off subject, so go ahead answer because I might be getting off subject, so I want to stay on subject.
Okay, when you say about the Navy vessel, now we all are military. It was unfortunate that it was a Navy vessel that was out at sea and the crewman was catching coronavirus and it was spreading like wildfire because, you know, they contained on a submarine or a ship or whatever. They were on a Navy ship. Okay, being that it was spreading and there's no way to get off the sea. And this is people that put their lives on the line for the United States all the time. There was repeated calls to action about the coronavirus and how to, you know, as was it a general or it was a
Navy captain.
It was a Navy captain. Okay, it was repeated calls to action to the government of trying to get help for his crewmen, and that's what exactly he's supposed to do. Now, we all know in the military, and I can say this because I'm out the military now, that things go on in the military that they try to keep inside because they don't want it to get outside. That's why they want to handle things in between themselves. But we all know that justice is not served when it's all in between themselves. So we got this captain that's trying to do the right thing for his people because his people are catching in and dropping like flies. And being that they're military, going back to what you were saying about the underlying conditions, we all know military people, they wouldn't have been on active duty if they had such underlying conditions that they wasn't fit to serve. Okay, so we could take that they was that their health was so endangered that they was on their way out the door anyway. So let's establish these are healthy crewmen. I don't know what the Navy call their people. Sailors. Okay, sailors. So we got healthy sailors that's catching corona. They dropping like flies. His calls to action is not getting heard. So he goes to the media, just like the lady on the airplane goes to the media. But yet he gets fired and he gets thrown out of government. Now we all know that the president has pardoned many of people that was already tried and convicted, but somehow they got pardoned. But yet it was a refusal of to show this captain in leniency, and he had many years in the military that would disrupt his retirement and everything else. And in essence, he left in shame just because he was trying to look out for his people. Okay, what do you think that you would have changed about that situation? And do you think it was necessary? Do you think the president should have stepped in and did something? Or do you think that it was, it wasn't such, the importance was not at such a level that he should have went to the media? What was your feelings about that?
You asking me?
Yeah, you're Mr. Lee.
Well, I think that, the president, he actually he intervenes in a lot of different situations. And
we're talking about this situation.
That partner wasn't his friend. Okay. Well, I just want to make a comment. All the people that he pardoned was his friends, because he actually pardoned that governor from Chicago, the Democrat, that he pardoned him too. But what I'm saying is, I think that was wrong for him to, get kicked out with lose retirement and everything. But the president, he actually get involved in a lot of different stuff. He get kicked back for it. Just like the part that he just did with Roger Stone. Somebody always got something to say about everything that he do.
Yeah, somebody got something to say about it. But what I'm saying, apparently he didn't care about what anybody said about Roger Stone. So why couldn't it been a reprieve for this captain? And we all know that the president do not care what people think. So I'm asking you, do you think he was wrong in this case by not interfering? And what do you think? Do you think the captain was wrong in going to the media, which is out of military protocol, but he was looking out for the safety of his men? What do you have to say about that? Do you think the captain was wrong, or do you think your president could have did something about it? What do you think about it?
Well, did he go to the media after he was out of the military or before?
No, he went before. That's why he got.
Oh, well, he broke protocol, because you're not supposed to talk against the military while you're in the military. So I think he kind of messed his own stuff up. So I think, the president could have just. Was he African American? Was he black or white?
No, he was white. He was white.
Okay.
It shouldn't matter if he was. Right is right and wrong is wrong. It shouldn't matter the color of your skin. So the captain was white.
No, it don't matter. It don't matter. But I was just trying to figure out, because I really don't know. I don't know the facts of the case. So I don't know, because I know a lot of times the president do pardon people after a certain amount of time. So I really don't know.
So at this, let me intervene a little. Let me give you a little backdrop. What happened was, you had a Navy skipper or a captain that went up the chain of command, and tried to say that, hey, my people are getting sick. They went to these ports, they caught coronavirus, and they're getting sick. We need to do something about it. At the time, the chain of command completely ignored him. So, seeing that he was ignored, he went to the media trying to save the crewmen's lives on the ship, because they were getting sick. This is a ship. It's an enclosed space. There's only so much segregation you can do. So, like I said, when he went to the media, they fired him. Yeah. They replaced him as the commander. So now, on that, President Trump did not step in to help him at all. In fact, he went. He had a board of appeals on his firing, and it was upheld. So that means that President Trump upheld his firing. He upheld the fact that the skipper was made to leave the ship and retire.
Okay, so since Russell just reiterated the story, so Russell, what is your take on it? Do you think the president should have intervened, just like he intervened on most of the guilty people that he pardoned? And do you think the captain was in his right to say or to go to the media, since
This is one time you have a president that says so much that he's for the military. So if you're for the military, you can understand, just like I know, Junior, you understand that, hey, you can't obey lawful orders. If I give you an order as a soldier to go kill somebody or go do something that's, go murder somebody or shoot somebody without cause, you don't have to obey it. So in this same instance, he felt that he had to go by his chain of command because his people were dying. I, as a military officer, I would have did the same thing. Like I said, and that's correct. He didn't get fired. He didn't get kicked out the military, but he did get fired from his job. But that's essentially forcing him to retire. He's going to retire as a captain.
Okay, so from that, I'm saying, Russell, you saying, okay, so what do you think the action of the captain should have been? Do you think he was correct in doing what he did?
I'd have did the same thing. Trump should have intervened. Now that's one time Trump should have intervened. He should have intervened and then reinstated him back to his rank and position.
Okay.
But he didn't.
So you think that
Go ahead.
So you think he was wrong for jumping the chain of command? I mean, for jumping his chain of command?
Not if my people are dying. Me as a military officer, I would have did the same thing. If my people were dying, what's the first thing they're going to ask you? If you as a squad leader or team leader or even a platoon leader, if you get all your people wiped out, what's the first thing they're going to ask you? Why didn't you do something to protect your people? That's the very first question you're going to be asked. And what were the steps that you took? Okay, the first thing I did is I took the step, which everybody will do, is go up the chain of command. Now, chain of command didn't work. Why didn't you do something else? You just going to let your people die?
Okay, so we got both of your topics on that situation. Okay, getting back to the coronavirus and people wearing masks. Now we have school that started, and we have several parents that, they're out here in the street protesting because they feel like their civil liberties are taken away. And just like what you said, Mr. Lee, about businesses are required, Keisha Lance Bottoms had wanted the businesses not to close, but they couldn't eat on the inside because of the fear of spreading the coronavirus. But yet people were saying that's taking away their civil liberties. What do you think do you think that's taking away people's natural civil liberties if they say that, okay, because of this coronavirus, you're going to have to close your business, or even if you had to shut down completely, like say if you had a daycare and you had to shut your whole daycare down because the coronavirus is spreading like wildfire, do you think that's fair, or do you think that's taking away your civil liberties? Mr. Lee?
Well, I think that, you got to look at it from both sides. You got to look at it as a business owner. If I completely shut down, how am I going to eat? Because business owners, they don't get no regular check. So if they don't get no money coming in, they don't eat. So I think you got to think of it in both situations. So if you open, you got to open with precautions.
So do you feel like that's taking away your civil liberties by doing that, by enforcing that?
Yeah, but what I would have did, I would have had all the parents where I take the kids' temperature. Made them wear masks, social distance. And do a lot of disinfecting.
Okay. Mr. Lang, what you feel about that? Do you want me to repeat the question?
Well, I think that this is where, again, and Junior, I know you say that we dump on Trump a lot, but in this instance, he actually had a roadmap how to do things. You forget, we're not the only ones that caught the coronavirus. This was done globally. So in the UK, they actually had, the government had halted businesses. They did the exact same thing, forced everybody to stay in the house and, quarantine. But unlike the United States, they paid each family a living wage of 2,000 euros a month to stay home. Also, they suspended
For how long?
He said, for how long?
I think it was for
How
months.
long
It was for months.
they giving that money?
It was for months. I don't know specifically how long. I do know it was over 90 days.
I think Canada was 6 months.
Yeah, I do know it was over 90 days. So
Okay.
these are the things that I think that when you pay your taxes, this is when the government should step up the bat for you. They know, they have the scientists, they have the more intelligent minds working for them. They know what's going on. They know what's happening. They know how it can affect you. So what should have happened was Trump should have took, instead of not doing anything, or taking the precautions that he did take, which was closing our borders. What he should have did was look and see, okay, the UK, they've already done this. This works. This is working for them. Let me go ahead and implement the same policy here, and see how it works. Protect our people.
Okay, so from that, Mr. Langham, the question was, do you think that's invading if a business have to shut down or you are made to wear a mask, do you think that's taking away your civil liberties?
No.
Okay.
Like I said, they have the people in place that can recommend you to do things that you're not going to know what to do. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a biologist. I'm a neurologist or any kind of health professional. I'm not any of that. So if that's just like your doctor. If your doctor tells you to wear a cast, is he invading on your civil liberties or is he protecting your leg?
So what do you have to say about the fact that Mr. Lee brought up a good comment about people got to eat, business owners got to eat? What do you have to say about if your business is the only thing that's bringing income, how do you eat if they close down? What's your answer to that?
Just like I said, you have other countries that solved that problem. One, they gave each family a living wage of 2,000 euros a month so that they could actually buy food, do whatever they had to do. Other small businesses, what they did was they paid them also to stay closed. They suspended rents, they suspended mortgages. They took all of those steps so that you wouldn't have to worry. As a small business owner, you wouldn't have to worry about that because the government was already taking care of you. Here in the United States, we had a bill passed, but it was so much pork in the bill that the large corporations were taking the money for the small corporations.
Okay, so I'm glad you answered that question. So with that said, about, I guess you would say that's stimulus packages. Mr. Lee, do you agree that the government should have stimulus packages? I know back a while ago with the Tea Party and some of the Tea Party was an offshoot, I think, and you could correct me, an offshoot of the Republican Party, which you are. They had said they wanted smaller government. They didn't want big government. So are you a fan of a stimulus package to help the people? Or if not, what do you think the government should do for people like that don't have a business and yet it's dangerous for them to go to work because of the coronavirus?
Well, it's actually dangerous for people to go to work, but they could actually do something else. I mean, you could cut grass. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that you could do to make money. I mean, but I'm just thinking about all the money they gave people. That's a whole lot of debt. I mean, who's gonna pay for that? I mean, because
$1,200 is a whole lot of money to pay people. The 12. So in essence, do you think a stimulus package should have been given out, or do you think that people should go cut grass and find other jobs?
No, what I'm saying is it's a good short-term goal. But what I'm saying is when it lasts over 3 or 4 months, I mean, that's just debt pile on top of debt. I mean, somebody's gonna have to pay for that debt. Either the next generation or a generation after that, somebody's gonna have to pay for that debt. Either we have to borrow some money from another country. I mean, it's just like you go to the bank and borrow money. I mean, that debt got to be repaid. So
okay,
but the government now, especially with the unemployment, they incentivize it so much. People don't want to come back to work because they make more money staying home than they do actually going to work. So a lot of people are saying, Why should I go to work if I can stay home and make more money?
So your answer is no stimulus package should be given out. They just need to go find another job.
No, what I'm saying is a stimulus package is good for short term. Short term means like 3 months. But after 3 months, I mean, they should find some more ways to make money. I'm not saying I'm saying for short term. I'm saying they should be giving money for the rest of their life. Huh?
But this coronavirus been around longer than 3 months. So if you are suffering, or you in a field that say you are a daycare worker or a restaurant waitress, and you have to deal with people, and people are catching the coronavirus, or even teachers, you exposed to coronavirus from these kids because you're made to go to work. So do you think they should have any kind of outlet, or they just should go find another job? Because if you don't have teachers, or if you don't have staff to serve people, I mean, how you gonna go find, and you don't have skill, how you gonna go find another job if it lasts, and this is last more than 3 months? So how do you propose that they go find another job? Because everybody don't know how to cut grass. Everybody can't go cut grass.
Well,
Mr. Lee?
I mean, people get hungry enough, they'll find something to eat. I mean, they'll find a way to eat. I mean, if you get hungry enough, you'll find something to do. I mean, because I'm saying, if you keep giving people all this money, who's gonna pay for this? If you give people $1,000 a week to stay home, right? I mean, where they get $600 unemployment, they get $300 or $400, $1,000, they making $50-something thousand. That's more than they make on their job. So if you give everybody, you just keep giving people money, where the money come from? Where all this money gonna come from?
Okay, Mr. Langham, can you answer that?
Well, like I said, that's what the government is for. That's what we pay for. We pay for the government to take care of us in times that we can't take care of ourselves. I mean, I understand what you're saying. You know, you're paying people to stay home, and some people, rightfully so, will make a lot more than they've made on tips or whatever. But look who's making those decisions. You got millionaires up in the Senate and the Congress. You know, I'm gonna put both of them in there together, but they're making decisions for the normal Joe. So when you got a millionaire like the Senate leader saying that, hey, we're paying them to stay home, I mean, this guy, only thing you're doing is making decisions up in the Senate. You got Joe Smo actually doing the work down here, you know, the essential worker. You know, if he can't go to work, he got to cut grass. Let's say, I'm gonna give you just for instance, let's say a teacher, your daughter's a teacher, and she can't go to work. You're in a state that they're not going to reopen the schools. You gonna say she need to go cut grass for the next 6 months instead of going to teach, or do you say that, hey, it's time for the government to pick up the ball? You're paying taxes.
All right, let me tell you this. She don't have to cut grass, but you know what my daughter did? My daughter lost her job, and she started doing Instacart, and she started making more money. She's 20 years old. She make more money Instacart. Instacart is where you go grocery shop for other people. And she was making more money doing that than at her job. 20 years old now.
But
people can't find little hustles like that.
But everybody can't do the Instacart. Everybody can't. Like I said, I'm just saying that you're saying that the government should just be responsible for a couple of months and then, hey, we all on our own. I'm just saying that we pay the government all year, 12 months. We don't pay the government for 9 months, 8 months, or 1 month. We pay them all year. So believe me, they should be taking care of us when we can't take care of ourselves all year.
Okay, Mr. Lee, you said your daughter did Instacart, right? Okay, what if she Instacart? I don't know if she was wearing a mask everywhere she went, but a mask is not 100%. A mask helps protect people, but it's not 100%. So, okay, she's going to Instacart, and I guess she got to go to knock on the people's door, and like you say, you sit home and you don't wear a mask, so people answering the door is not going to wear a mask, and she comes down with the corona. So what do you have to say about that? If she's down with the corona, is it just tough luck that she caught the corona because she at least went to go do Instacart? I mean, what do you say about that?
Well, actually, when they do it, it's contactless.
It's
Groceries off
contact.
at their house,
Yes, contactless.
and you leave.
Right,
There's
at
no
your door.
contact. It's contactless. You don't no contact with the person.
Okay, but the thing is, everything is not
and
known
ring it
about
back.
this. Everything is not known about this coronavirus. So, say even by
Right.
contactless, contactless mean that you're not actually touching their food, or it's going to be in a bag that it ain't going to be contact to contact. But we even found that the coronavirus was in frozen chicken wings. So, what if by chance that she's doing Instacart and she gets the coronavirus? Okay, so she's sick with the coronavirus for 2 weeks, and Lord knows, hope she don't die. But while she ain't able to make an income and bills are steady coming in, what does she supposed to do? Do she just better get out of her sick bed and go find another job, or what does she supposed to do? Mr. Lee?
First of all, in 2 weeks, I mean, well, she really ain't got that many bills. In 2 weeks, I mean, I can pay her bills. I mean, she ain't got no bills. So in 2 weeks, ain't gonna make nobody. 2 weeks ain't that bad. I mean, and number one, the whole point is I'm not gonna be locked in my house because coronavirus, being scared to go from place to place and be scared to do this and that. And what I'm saying is, I'm not gonna be a prisoner in my own house. If I want to go someplace, I'm gonna go. I mean, I'm gonna wear masks, social distance, do all that stuff, but I'm not gonna be a prisoner. I'm not gonna be a prisoner. I mean, I'm not gonna be a prisoner.
Okay,
in my house,
so
I mean, this United States. I mean,
well, we understand that, and we understand this United States. But as far as, so you still sticking by we shouldn't give a stimulus because somebody got to pay for that. But okay, Mr. Langham, what do you say about the fact that Mr. Lee says somebody got to pay for that, and we shouldn't have to provide a stimulus over 3 months because somebody got to pay for it? What do you say about that?
That's why we have taxation.
Without representation.
Well,
why you put it like that?
And that's why we have taxation. See the government. Everybody does it. From the time almost the time you're born, if you make any money, you're going to pay the government. So, I think that the government should be on the hook. They should pay for it. I mean, the people that's disregarded the advice of stay at home and do whatever you can, like I said, those people, a lot of those people have caught the coronavirus and died. So, I mean, I understand. Not everybody has a father that's going to take care of them. Not everybody has it. If you're talking about the single person that's out there making their money, and yeah, they might have to get out there and do a hustle. But what happened if during that hustle, they catch the coronavirus and now they're laid up, you sick and you die? It was just your bad. You're gonna die because you had to pay those bills.
Mr. Lee?
Why you keep saying sick and you die? Everybody get coronavirus ain't gonna be sick and they ain't gonna die. Most people that get coronavirus, they don't die.
We can't say, but you do have a percentage. So we don't know that there's a percentage of the ones. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't know the percentage of ones that go back healthy, or the ones that get sick and manage to come back from it, or the percentage that get sick and die. But what I'm saying is, I'm not going to roll the dice and find out. I'm going ahead. I'm gonna try my best to stay safe. And when it comes up, I'll stay here, and I'm not going to go look for another job and do that. To me, that's what the government's for. Okay,
so if Mr. Lee, if you saying that if you was president right now, you would give 3 months worth of a stimulus, what stimulus would you propose? If you could make up any kind of stimulus for and I guess the length is 3 months. If you want it to be longer, you could say so. But if you don't think people need a stimulus, you could say that. But because of this coronavirus, it seems to not be going away, and people are affected. But like you say, they could go find another job. What would you propose as a stimulus if you was the president? Or would you even have a stimulus?
Well, I would give a person a one-time payment of $3,000. $3,000. That's it. One time. $3,000 per person. And that's that. The average person now to get them maybe a month and a half. I mean, depending on how much bills they got.
So what if you're living paycheck to paycheck?
That'd be about $2 or $3 trillion.
Okay, Mr. Langham,
Well, if you live paycheck to paycheck, I mean.
Okay, Mr. Langham, answer the same question. If you was president right now, what do you propose to be a stimulus, and how long would you have it?
I would pay people a living wage monthly. Probably give a family, like I said, if Europe didn't do $2,000, 2,000 euros, then I'd say a good living wage per family probably be about $3,000 per month until the statistics in your area, rise up and where the curve, is not going high where people are dying. Like in Florida, I'm in Florida. So right now, we're still hot. It's still a hotbed of people, catching corona and dying.
So like Mr. Lee said, who's going to pay for it?
We're paying for it now anyway. I mean, you're paying your taxes regardless. Regardless of what happens today, what happens next week, what happens 6 months ago, you're paying taxes. So I put a little bit more taxation on the rich or richer.
But I ain't paying that much taxes.
Well, I'm not saying you. I'm talking about the millionaires, the billionaires, the people that have gotten fat over the last 3 to 4 years. Like I said, if I tax a millionaire,
make them pay for it.
Yeah, I will put the burden on them. I will put the burden. They're not going to pay all of it, but I will put a burden on them. Yes.
Okay, so we established that, but just like Mr. Lee said, this is the United States. Now we have seen other countries how they handle their coronavirus, as far as making people stay in quarantine, making people wear masks. Why do you think? And I'm starting with Mr. Langham first. Why do you think other countries has been so far more successful than the United States?
Because they've listened to the smarter people in the room. Each country, you have the World Health Organization. You also have SMEs, subject matter experts, that you can listen to. That's what a leader is. A leader is not the smartest person in the room every time. There's a lot of smart people out in the world. They specialize in their subjects, and what you're supposed to do as a leader is listen to their advice. Unfortunately, that hadn't happened.
Okay, Mr. Lee, what do you think the reason that other countries has been much more successful than the United States in handling the coronavirus?
Well, first of all, I don't think other countries are actually more successful because they don't do as much testing as we actually do, and they don't report like we do. So I think that's more there because we do a lot of testing, and I mean other countries don't test as much as we test. Y'all agree with that?
Okay, elaborate on that because.
No.
Wait a minute. You need to elaborate on that so we'll know what you mean, because you're saying United States does more testing. Now, all over the world, they don't know enough about this coronavirus. So I would say everybody is on an even keel because, China had to share what they knew about the coronavirus to us. And so far, we have tested and we still have came up with zilch. We don't have a vaccine. We still don't know how this coronavirus has mutated. We don't know what affects it. We don't know anything as yet. So what kind of testing are you talking about that we did so much more advanced than the other countries? Because the other countries seem to have been getting back to normal. Now, they have had repeat cases, but they are more back to normal than we are. So how could you say or elaborate on how we have done so much testing to make us so far advanced than other countries?
I think, let me just...
Wait, let Mr. Lee answer first.
Are you talking about testing kits? We're testing more people?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yes. I'm talking about testing more people. Where they stick the swab down your nose, do that. I'm talking about that.
Okay, so we're doing more testing than you saying China did. And do you know that for a fact, or are you just saying that?
Well, by the numbers that I've seen, we're doing more testing, and it also seems like a lot of times when they say the numbers going up, it also numbers going up because we actually doing more testing. I mean, before we wasn't testing as many people, and now we're testing a whole lot more people. So,
well, you should expect for the numbers to go up, but per capita, we aren't testing more than anybody else. We just have more people in certain areas. They're doing the same amount of testing as we are, but like I said, per capita, because some of the countries are just small as states, you know.
But let me go back because I don't think my question got answered.
yeah.
Okay, I understand what you're saying about the more testing, but my question was, why is other countries handling the coronavirus more effectively than we are? Okay, you said we're doing more testing, but we still are behind in getting a hold on this coronavirus. I mean, we haven't really, they said it was going to be a second phase. We really haven't got out the first phase. Other countries have got out the first phase and entering a second phase. So what I'm saying is, how do you think other countries have gotten so far ahead in handling it than United States? Because we never got out the first phase. Mr. Lee, that was directed to you to finish up.
I mean, I really, well, I don't know what phase we in. First phase, second phase, because they talking about is a new strain of virus, and another phase probably gonna come in the fall. I mean, but I'm just looking at the numbers as far as all the cases that we got. We got over 5 million cases and over 170,000 deaths. I mean, so not really getting. It's not getting worse either.
Okay, Mr. Lee,
So I don't.
your connection is real bad, but go ahead. We'll try to make out what you're saying. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Were you finished?
That did you hear what I said?
No, we didn't. Can you repeat it again real quick?
I said I don't think that other countries is actually ahead of us. I think a lot of times they're not reporting like we report, and a lot of times even when people die in this country, a lot of times when they die from other causes, but hospitals get paid. I don't know if y'all noticed, but hospitals get paid more money when they say they get a COVID death. They get like $2,500. So a lot of times people die from other causes like cancer and diabetes, but they blame it on coronavirus. And so I think it has to do with, I mean, people trying to make money also. So
it's fake news. Some of it's fake news. That's what you're saying.
I ain't saying it's fake news.
Well, when the hospital reports so many deaths, and
a lot of people are profiting.
Okay, they may be profited,
well,
but I mean,
hospital.
Are they not treating the same people, or are they not treating them for coronavirus? So I'm saying either it's falsely reporting fake news, or they are doing the necessary steps to take care of these people. So what are you saying? Is the hospital if the hospital is making a profit, but the treatment is necessary, who cares?
Well, what I'm saying is, if somebody go in a hospital and they have diabetes or they have high blood pressure and they have coronavirus and they die, automatically they say they died from coronavirus.
Well, if they had coronavirus, wouldn't they?
But that don't mean coronavirus actually.
Okay, so you're saying that if they had
diabetes, that.
Okay, so you're saying that, and I'm like I said, you're fading in and out. So I'm trying to. You could just shake your head if I'm right. So what you're saying is that if they had hypertension and diabetes and coronavirus, the hospital, just to make a profit, they're gonna put on the death certificate coronavirus. Is that what you're saying? We can't hear you. Okay, Mr. Langham, what do you have to say about that as far as other
What
countries
about now?
handle?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Did you hear what I said? Was I
Okay.
correct in saying what you were saying about if you have diabetes and hypertension and coronavirus, you're saying the hospitals on purpose is putting coronavirus just to make an extra profit?
A lot of them are, not in every case, but a lot of them are. Yes.
Okay,
Yes. That's what I'm
so
saying.
okay, thank you. So, Mr. Langham, the question is what I'm saying as far as other countries has been handling the coronavirus a lot more effectively. Well, you could just answer. Do you think they've been handling the coronavirus a lot more effectively than the United States? And if you think that, why do you think that's so?
So let's look at the facts. And I'm gonna share my screen right quick so you guys can see what I see.
Okay.
So if you can look at this page, this is from Johns Hopkins University, University of Medicine. And like I highlighted, yes, the US has conducted more COVID-19s than any other country. However, there's no expert consensus on a recommended target for the raw number of tests or even the rate of tests per capita. And that's because what you're seeing is the reason why the US has had to conduct more tests is because we haven't been able to contain it. Not like like the European countries or other countries per se, we haven't been able to contain it. So we've had to test more. They've been able to contest it, control it better than we have. So they haven't had to test as much as we have. Do you guys see the data?
Now, can you make it bigger? I can't see it.
Sure. Which part?
Yeah.
And so
Can you make that bigger now?
what I was saying is right here. So that's what I'm saying. Most of the countries that have had to test a lot is because they couldn't control it. They couldn't control the outbreak. Just like the United States, we couldn't control it, so we have had to test more. But as you see, like New Zealand, they've had to test a lot less because they were able to control it better than we were. Even Hong Kong, if you see in some of the lower numbers that are there, you see they're under 5% in testing. Whereas the US, we've had to test more because we haven't been able to control the outbreak.
Okay, Mr. Langham, maybe you could give them the website because some of our viewers said that it was so tiny they couldn't see it. So maybe you could just say the website out loud so they can look it up. But in the meantime, we have a comment that Israel has more testing than Russia, than even the United States. So that contradicts Mr. Lee's statement that we have been doing the most testing. Okay, so back to the question of Mr. Langham saying that, showing where other people have handled it better. What do you have to say about the comment that Mr. Lee said about if you have diabetes, hypertension, and coronavirus, that the hospital is making a profit just because they are putting the coronavirus on a death certificate?
They're making a profit by what?
I guess by money. Mr. Lee,
how would they get paid? It's like a bounty for every death that you have. How would they get paid? So just because they say, hey, we didn't kill something by coronavirus, that's 2,500 we got in the pot. The only way that
every time.
Let me say this: the only way a hospital gets paid is if
somebody dies from coronavirus, they get paid.
Well, what I'm saying is the only time the hospital gets paid for coronavirus is if they're doing testing, if they're doing medication, if they're doing treatment for the coronavirus. That's the only way. They can't say he's over there, he having a heart attack, I'm treating for a heart condition, but he died of coronavirus. The medical chart won't support it.
Well, Mr. Lee is not denying the fact that he has coronavirus, but he's saying that the hospitals are making a profit off of it. Now, what I don't understand, if the patient, if the hospital is not reporting fake news and they indeed have coronavirus, it doesn't matter if he does have diabetes and hypertension. If he has the coronavirus, what's wrong with the hospital reporting coronavirus? Mr. Lee, that's directed at you.
I'll say one thing in the
reporting that coronavirus, because coronavirus ain't good.
Oh, so the diabetes. Okay, I have diabetes and hypertension.
Or hypertension was to kill them.
Okay, so if I have
coronavirus was something that added on to it.
Well, let me say this. Right now, I'm perfectly healthy. But if I catch coronavirus, I might die. So you think a hospital is going to say, well, he got diabetes and he got all this other stuff, but he died from diabetes. He didn't die from coronavirus.
Well, what I'm saying is a lot of studies that look at every hospital will do it, but in a lot of cases they do that. They do that. I ain't gonna tell you where I really think they do it. I mean, I really think they trying to make the president look bad. I mean, because by saying that, by reporting all this. I mean, personally, that's what I think.
So if somebody have,
but I'm not trying to take away.
I got hypertension and diabetes. So I'm sitting here talking to you right now with hypertension and diabetes. So tomorrow, if I catch coronavirus and I can't breathe and die, it's wrong for the hospital to put coronavirus because I had diabetes and hypertension? Mr. Lee, that's directed at you.
I'm not saying it's wrong, but what I'm just telling you, I said, I'm not saying that it's wrong. What I'm saying is, I'm telling you that a lot of times they do that to profit. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, but
every case, but what I'm saying is that's some of the things they do.
But what I'm saying, I can't see. Well, explain why is it wrong if the person do have coronavirus? Why is it wrong to put that on their death certificate to get extra money? It does cost a lot for ventilators. You don't need a ventilator because you have hypertension and diabetes. So if you had to treat somebody for coronavirus, why is it so wrong for the hospital to make a profit if they indeed treated someone for coronavirus? And how do that make and you're saying that, and I want Russell, Mr. Langham, to comment on this. He said that hospitals are doing this to make the president look bad. So what motive is every hospital out here Democrat? What motive do the hospitals have to make the president look bad? So answer those two questions.
You want me to get on that?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Okay. So there is no motive. I mean, hospitals are doing what they can. Think about it. The hospital doesn't have a sign up saying, come on in. I mean, people are coming in on their own and they're getting tested. And then when the test comes positive, that's how they're getting treated. So there's nothing that they're doing trying to target the president. I know I've heard that. Yeah. I've actually heard that on Fox News that some hospitals are, misrepresenting the numbers and putting it up there. But on Fox News, I don't, I don't trust that I don't trust that theory.
Okay, so Mr. Lee, do you think most hospitals out here is Democrat and they just conspiring against the president to make him look bad? I mean, that's what you sounded like. Is that what you're saying?
Why are you trying to make it
I mean, you okay, well then explain what you're saying about
Republican.
Well, you said hospitals are doing that on purpose to make the president look bad. So if you're Republican, I wouldn't think that you'll be trying to make your own side look bad. So tell me, what do you mean when you say the fact that hospitals are doing this to make the president look bad?
Well, I think
I think because a lot of stuff they blame it on him. Like what Russell said, as far as he had a late response, and he want to open up businesses because he want the economy to come back. I mean, so he want the economy to come back. So I think that that's the problem. What that mean?
I don't know.
What's
We'll tell you later.
I don't know. It was a hacker. It was a hacker. Just don't forget that. Okay. I don't know. Just I gotta. Okay.
So I'll say this.
YouTube land. People just put stuff up.
I don't understand what that means. What the also mean?
I don't understand what that means either. I'm just laughing.
Why you laughing?
Yeah,
Why you laughing?
That was a funny moment.
Why you laughing if you don't know what it means? Huh?
But I'll say this. It's not a Democratic or Republican thing as far as these hospitals. The hospitals are only reporting the numbers as they come in. That's the only thing they can do. So if he looks bad, I mean, it's only because of, like you said, the late response or the non-response. I'll be honest with you, if he would have taken measures way back when he first learned about it in December, we wouldn't be in the same position. If he hadn't tweeted talking about this is a hoax, we wouldn't be in this position. Just fact.
Okay, Mr. Lee, you have anything to say?
Well, let me ask you a question. If you was the president, what you would have did? If you was the president, what would you have done when you found out this information in November, December?
So, if you remember correctly, President Obama had already put a playbook out, a pandemic playbook that President Trump, they just threw it out. They didn't adhere to the playbook or instructions that was already in place. These things that had already been put out, by President Obama way back years ago. Do you remember that? Do you remember hearing that?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Okay, so if he would have adhered to that and went on and reacted like he should have, then we wouldn't be in the position we're in now.
So what did the playbook say?
I don't know. It's in the government. The Department of Health and Human Services and the CDC, they had those playbooks. But I will say this: Obama actually put it out in the speech what the U.S. should do in case we have these emergencies. If you remember, he did go through H1N1. He went through Ebola. So he went through some pandemics before anything ever happened. Even Trump. Trump said that we had 1,000 deaths. But look at now, we got 174,000 deaths. So we had things we could have put in place, but Trump dismantled those. We also had a team in China, in the CDC, that worked in China, that were supposed to be the advanced party if anything popped off, like any kind of virus or anything like that. If anything infectious diseases popped off, they were supposed to work it and then relay the information to the U.S. Do you know that Trump dismantled that team and brought them back? And that was earlier last year, 2019. You want me to pull that up and show it to you, or?
No, I believe you.
Well, we believe you. Okay, Mr. Lee, let's kind of bring this to the close. So if you, just like you asked Mr. Langham, what would he suggest you do if you was president and you had to handle this around November or December? What would you have done different to handle this coronavirus?
Well, I mean, I probably would have jumped on it probably in January, February. I mean, and I would have closed the borders. I mean, I would have. I don't know if I would have closed businesses, but I would have. I don't know. I mean, I probably would listen to a lot of scientists and a lot of doctors what they had to say. I mean, I would have got a team around me. I mean, and I would listen to them, not go by what I thought, because I'm not a doctor. I would go by what the scientists and what the doctors, say.
Okay, and since you said that, what do you think about Dr. Fauci? Do you think he know what he's talking about, or do you think he's a quack?
I think he a quack. Me personally, I think he a quack.
Okay, Mr. Langham, what do you think about Dr. Fauci?
Dr. Fauci's held that position 30 something years. So he's been working in the government for the last 30 years. He's a subject matter expert that he's advised all presidents up to now on this same issue. He's went through several different pandemics before this. So saying he's a quack, the only reason Trump doesn't listen to him is because he didn't agree with what Trump said. So Trump got somebody that agreed with him, and that's who he put in front.
I know I said I was going to end it with that, but I got a question. Okay, the CDC has been telling everyone for months on end, keep your kids. In fact, they the one who suggested to take the kids out of the school. Let's cut the school year because kids are the biggest transporter of this disease. And about a month ago, the CDC did about turnaround and said that kids need to be in school for socialization and for other things. And they I don't know if they backed off that. I think the commissioner of the CDC somebody stepped down. I don't know what was going on behind the scenes, but the CDC haven't really put out another statement about what they think about the kids going back to school. So I don't know if it was pressure from the administration or pressure from the public in general that made them change their stance on it. But Mr. Langham, I'm going to ask you first. Do you think kids should be back in school?
No. In fact, Georgia is a real good indicator of what not to do, because Georgia put kids back in school, and as you've seen in leaked pictures, they were all right there together. And in fact, they've had to go back and shut several school districts down. So they just blossomed out with COVID.
Okay, Mr. Lee, your answer to that. Do you think the CDC was correct in changing their mind, or do you think kids should be back in school?
Well, let me just say this. I think that you can't live in fear. I think that, if they stay home this year, how long are they going to stay home? How long is it going to be? This year, next year? When is it going to ever end, So I think that,
I don't know. So you think kids should be back in school, basically?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Well,
I'll say this as a parting thought. You say that until it gets to your kid and somebody passes away, and then there's no turning back from that one. So I'd rather be on the safe side.
Yeah, I actually had to take my daughter to school yesterday, in college, and she on campus. So
Well, campus, that's a little different. When I'm talking about school, I'm talking about preschool, first grade through 12th grade.
Mr. Lee, what you got to say about the preschool through 12th grade sitting in class? Because we have seen pictures of kindergartens and stuff with the teachers not wearing a mask, the students not wearing a mask. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I think if they in them close quarters, they should wear masks and they should do social distancing. And they should follow all the precautions that the CDC has put out. Because okay. It's for their own safety.
Okay. Well, that's reasonable. And Mr. Langham, do you have any last closing comments? And I know y'all been talking between each other before before y'all thought of the topic, and that's why I'm bringing it to Let's Chat. Anything that y'all want to talk about, I'm agreeing to talk about. So is there anything that y'all talked about behind the closed doors that you wanted to bring the fruitation that you want to make a last statement for, and Mr. Lee, you the same, that y'all disagreed on?
Well, my only statement is this. I mean, we got a failed leader that I understand that you saying that everything he does, the media and everybody else jumps on him, but he is the president of the United States. He is responsible for the United States. So if anything happened that goes wrong, he's the man in charge. He's the head person. So you can't blame the media for jumping on him. You really can't blame other people for saying that he's failed, because he has failed.
Okay, so this would really be the last question. If we get a new administration, what would you like to see done, Mr. Langham?
Well, if you get a new administration, I think you have to look at, one, they dismantled the health care bill, Obamacare. So when you dismantled it, what did they bring in replace it? They didn't replace it with anything. So that means that millions of people that fell off of the insurance rolls, now they have no insurance. So if they do try to, go to the hospital for COVID and everything like that, it's a bad situation. They definitely have to put that back, either put that back or modify it and fix the bill so that everybody can have health care, at least.
Okay, and Mr. Lee, I guess you're hoping that the same administration win the election. So, do you? Do you?
Well, I mean, I just because I mean, Trump do a lot of stuff with businesses as far as taxes, and and he actually put more money in people's pocket as far as you don't actually take a lot of tax out of your pay. I mean, he done stuff for historical Black colleges. I mean, he did a lot of stuff.
So with that saying, you do want the same administration to be back in office, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so going forward, what would you like to see done regarding this coronavirus? If the same administration get back in office, because we know right now he don't have but a limited amount of time. But if he get reelected and have another 4 years, what would you like to see change?
Well, I mean, I really like to see this coronavirus, disappear. I mean, whatever we need to do to make it go away.
Well, everybody wants that, but I don't think he's in charge of, I don't think he could do that. So I'm saying, if you like the way things are going and you satisfied with the way things are going, you could say you want things to maintain the same. But if there's something that you would like to see change, then let us know what would you like to see change. Do you like everything?
I would actually want him to I would actually want him to listen to the scientists, not Dr. Fauci, but the other scientists and other medical professionals as far as putting different things in place. And I want him to listen to the people he have around him instead of kind of making decisions on expert at everything.
Okay, so the lady that he has around him now, she's more professional, and that's the lady that you think that he should listen to.
You heard me?
No, I didn't. That's what I'm asking you.
Did you hear me?
No.
I said what I'd like to change. President Trump should actually listen to the scientists around him, the doctors and professionals, and I think he should listen to a team of people that's more qualified than he is, instead of doing things on his own. So he's not an expert at everything. So I think he should use the people he have around him.
Except Dr. Fauci, right?
Yeah.
Except Dr. Fauci. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, with that said, thank you for coming on, Mr. Lee and Mr. Langham. It was always nice chatting with Cece. We have a difference of opinion, but we know we all family and we all from the same community, just different ways to look at things. So with that, we'll say good night, and until the next time, if you have another subject, come chat with Cece. In the meantime, if you like this video, or even if you don't like it, click subscribe and click notifications so you'll see something that you do like in the future. And tomorrow, I think we're going to talk about the subject of women's empowerment. We all know that WAP is out here. I don't know if anybody knows what that means, but it's supposed to be a song of women's empowerment. So we're going to have a couple of people come on and talk about that. So if you're interested, tune in tomorrow about 7 o'clock. I will put the notice out there. And in the meantime, you all have a good night. Love you, stay safe, and keep your masks on, social distance, and goodbye.